So yes, Eli and I are going to share a spoken word. We titled it, Two Sides of the Story. I remember my mom teaching me how to dial 911.
My father taught me to respect all authority.
Only in case of an emergency, she said.
He told me to look a man in the eyes when he spoke.
And throughout my childhood, I dreamt with dread of what an emergency meant.
He told me that blue uniforms are often easily provoked.
In my neighborhood, there was never a need, never a true emergency.
He told me, do anything you can to make it back home safely, even if it meant crawling on the concrete to avoid smoke. I could hear the self-confidence bubbling as he hoped that the tears would not make it to his eyes but stay stumbling in his throat.
I was blessed. And that's why I remember feeling stressed when one day I walked up to my front door and found glass shattered on the floor, each piece symbolizing my broken sense of security. We had fallen victim to burglary. I ran to my neighbors, head full of uncertainty. My parents followed close behind. Before I knew it, there was a line of cops outside. 5 police cars for a simple break-in. That day, the Popo were my hero, a badge of honor, upstanding citizens who always put their lives on the line, individuals who always had my best interest in mind, specially designed to keep me safe at all times. Police were practically perfect, popular, public, well-polished people, not to mention that many of them were Christians, and I saw them on Sunday underneath the steeple. Their authority was never abused, and only used when they absolutely had to. That gun on their waist would never be used in haste. Their righteous bullets were something innocent people would never have to taste. Thus, I am painting a picture of a potentially unrealistic expectation, an expectation that caused anger, sadness, and misrepresentation. When we heard about Michael Brown's case, it was hard to digest. When we saw Kaepernick kneel, it was taken as a threat. Perhaps my community, for the first time, was being forced to see that no member of police is as perfect as we make them out to be.
How do I tell my father that I have developed the bad habit of looking down at the concrete as I walk? I now avoid eye contact when I talk, and it's not because I am ashamed of where I am going, officer, but it is because I am afraid that you will unholster your authority, let the city lights shine off the barrel of your insecurities and your stainless steel preconceptions at my feet, click back the generations of progress our ancestors had made, and shoot holes in my newly shined church shoes. You see, my church shoes already have holes in their lacing, but still I find it hard to breathe. And I'm growing sick of looking down. I am sick of fear holding its forearms at my throat, telling me to stop resisting. But let me turn it down a lead. I must have forgotten that I was a minority. Like Eric Gardner, whose last words were, "I can't breathe." I wonder if he too forgot that he was a minority. But don't feel bad. Don't turn away. This is a legacy. This is a man's, a woman, a child's reality. And these words have stayed with me. Like seeing Shah at the gas station get stopped and frisked, the first one I've ever seen. He got dropped and licked the concrete with the side of his cheek. He decided to speak, saying, "Get off me," straining against the weight of 2 officers. Giving the earth his testimony in blood, but a cheekbone can only carve out so much. See, Shah was 17, and he must have forgot that he was a minority. I have only witnessed this one stop and frisk in my entire life. but the residue of the blood-stained concrete has been crushed into the palm of my hand and crystallized as rubies. Precious gems that can buy nothing. Because of course they don't shine white like diamonds.
Which is why I don't feel afraid when an officer approaches me.
Stand white like I am, blood draining from my face right now as another officer approaches me.
Tamir Rice was just 12 years old when he lost his life.
This time I am locked out of my girlfriend's car, and before he says anything, I am looking down at the concrete and...
Michael Brown was shot 6 times by police.
Prepare all the lies I would have to tell this man just to convince him of the truth. But he stops me and smiles. He only asks if he can help.
The cop who shot Jordan Edwards was found guilty.
But that's not enough for me. That's not enough for me to have peace. He said and asked me that I looked like I was in need of assistance.
R.I.P. to all the children.
He said, that's what I'm here for.
The victims of police brutality.
He asks,
who are now just another piece of history in a long march for equality.
Do cops where you come from have a bad rep? Thank you.